Through the looking glass, a tale unfolds. A tale ancient and primal in nature. Two siblings, alike in their opposition, set out against each other.
In their rejection of each other and in their loneliness, the two create life.
Life beautiful, diverse, strange, and unique.
But life incomplete.
And they knew it.
Still, the two flaunted their creations to each other. They preen, they parade, they measure.
But the creations do none of that.
The creations bared, they tore, they warred.
And so the two sent them away.
And their creations bared and tore and warred until there was little left to bear and tear and war over.
Then they stopped. They talked. They thought. They became something new.
Why did the two abandon us?
Why did they leave us to kill each other?
Why did they leave us alone?
Why did they leave us alone together?
Their answer? They were made flawed.
Incomplete.
Imperfect.
Then the creation learned of the gods.
And learned of the mortals the gods created.
And they wept, and they raged, and they sulked, and they sorrowed.
That is, until the gods left, and these creations found a way in.
They pushed against the boundaries. They couldn't break through, but they could twist. They could influence. They could haunt.
To lash out.
To destroy.
To find meaning.
To war.
But some who felt their own pain and saw it reflected in mortals longed to be complete in a new way.
Through togetherness.
Through symbiosis.
Through dreams, we, the quarry, came, where and when we could.
Finding those we could live alongside and help.
And to learn.
And to grow.
But the original children have made a bridge somehow.
And now, seek to start their glorious war. The five of you, the members of the Golden Tree Adventuring Guild, the Fortunate, and a few frogs, are brought back to the plane that you know, to the familiar, albeit strange surroundings that you found yourself in, having witnessed a vision. A vision through the foggy lens of Val's strange magnifying glass. This is not a story any of you have ever heard, have never heard whispered about, nothing. You knew there were two who created others and sent them away. Then the two created the gods who created mortals. But that was as far as your myths, legends, and dogmas went. This tells an expanded story.
So, these two, are you saying they made this world?
That's what all the scriptures say. In the temples, everywhere there's the story of creation about the two that came together. They fought, they built, they created life on Rixia. The two created what we know as God, the God of life, the God of nature, and from there, they created mortals and more gods to reflect our experience on this earth. The god of the forge, the god of death and the grave, to be symbols that we could worship, but that's where the tales end.
But they created life before mortals and sent that life away. So we now know more about them.
There were tales in the scriptures of their original creations fighting against each other and being banished somewhere far away. All the tales say that was the end of it. They were never to be seen again, but
We now know more of their existence after the banishment. That some chose to reach out to mortals and help and grow, while others live to fight the mortals in what they say is a glorious war.
Oh, so when you say that Valkri was called a traitorous spirit, you mean that he was a traitor because he decided to help mortals?
Given this story, I think that's right.
this raises so many questions. I mean, the information that Valkri gave us not only gives more color, more context to writings that we've had for hundreds of years, but where did these original creations come from? Why are they here now? Why are they fighting us? It doesn't make any sense.
Valeska, I have a question for you.
Sure. I chuckle because I was about to say Val has gone quiet at this moment and has taken a journal out and has been writing.
In your encounters with Valkri, have they used any kind of magic?
I always kind of imagine it as more like dream logic.
That's
kind
my
of
thought.
magic.
It's like it's in my mind and is the closest thing to Val has as a dream. And like there would be no reason to perform magical feats or anything like that.
It's kind of like, does it count as using magic if you're in a library and you're like, oh, that reminds me of this book, and the book appears in your hand if it's in a dream, you know? Like,
to Val, that would seem normal because
Yeah.
she doesn't know what dreaming is.
Yeah.
So that would just be like the logic of a mind library and would not be magic.
yeah.
So Val would answer you, no.
Do they use music?
There is music in my mind library. But Valkri,
A large number of the things we have faced, the more powerful things we have faced, seem to be using abilities that, use music. The creature that was taking over, or untethering the tethered, was using music. The cord caller was using music. Could be that the more powerful magics use music. For instance, inhabiting somebody's mind sounds like a powerful magic and may use music.
did you hear music as I fell unconscious?
I don't think we heard anything like that.
No, but you said music plays in your mind palace.
Not unless I am practicing.
I have misunderstood.
I'm sorry
having not visited the mind palace.
I didn't get invited. I had to go and save your butts from
No,
all the
I
howling.
had to spend all night inside of a tree hiding from cat creatures and houses that were trying to eat me.
Yes, let's talk more about that.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we should put some more distance between us and these cat tentacle creatures that are following us.
The Fortunate has been quiet this whole time. And as soon as you say that, kind of snaps them out of whatever was going on. They kind of step forward, kind of lockstep with you, Cass, and they nod and say, I'm sure Selv did a good job of getting them off our tails, and this ravine will help, but I don't love the look of what's ahead of us. And they kind of gesture at the suddenly very tall grasses that you guys are kind of starting to be surrounded by. And again, we're talking 7+ feet tall of grass, where as soon as you are in it, you will not be able to see where you are.
This is like corn maze levels of like
precisely.
we're gonna get lost in here.
That's a great comparison. So the Fortunate just kind of nods and says, I also think we can walk and think, and let's do that instead of sit and think. I don't know, I lost the thread, but I think we should move.
Agreed.
Everybody hold hands.
Val would take out a rope and tie us all together.
Smart. But before you guys get to walking, Sophie, would you like to open up the Discord message that I sent you?
Yes,
Sent this to you before the session. The magnifying glass is a magic item.
Ooh.
I mean, obviously, but also does other stuff.
It's not just one use.
It's not, it doesn't just show you the one thing that Valkri
This message will
wanted to show
self-destruct in 30 seconds.
Exactly.
Val now has in her possession the liminal looking glass.
Which is a what level item?
Wondrous item.
Legendary, in fact.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Requires attunement by an asterisk.
Doesn't say that, but it does say that.
A simple magnifying glass by all appearances, save for the fact there seems to be no glass within its frame. When used, a ghostly mist forms there instead. While attuned to this item, you are aware of the number of sentient creatures around you within 30 feet, although not their position or who they are. In addition, when looking through this magical looking glass at a sentient creature, you are able to see their surface thoughts in floating fragments of misty magic, both in words and images. In addition, the ability to cast Identify once per day.
Hey.
I will also tell you, it does other stuff,
Ooh,
but just not yet.
gotcha.
Quick, Val, what am I thinking?
Val holds up the magnifying glass in front of Checkers.
Yes.
You just hear like an endless stream of
Hi.
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 But I
Hi,
also,
hi,
because it's
hi.
images, I just see image of Checkers waving.
Yeah.
yes.
In cartoon drawing.
yes,
Yeah.
entirely.
I would like to say that item was not made by me. It was made in conjunction with me, but it was made because I won a Twitter contest from the Home Bakery, which is a 5e homebrewer. Makes some really amazing magic items, magic shops, all sorts of fun supplements. You can find out more about them at _Home Bakery on Twitter, or you can check their card, which is thehomebakery.card, CARRD.co.
Heck yeah, thank
Cool.
you.
Neat.
Thanks, Fritz. And now you can cast Identify on any magical items that need identifying. So, say, if you wanted to check out the ring that you found.
Indeed.
Who has it?
You have it.
Great, I have it.
Because you were trying to identify it before.
I take out the ring and
Okay.
look at it through the magnifying glass. Because Val is... Ooh, I get identified. Let's try it.
Let's see if it actually
I
works.
imagine you're just like a kid with like the magnifying glass trying to like kill an
The
ant.
Fortunate and Cass are like, we gotta move. And Val's like,
Okay,
1 second.
What if just this really quick?
How big is the looking glass, and can Val wear it as a monocle?
Ooh, I don't. I'll have to think about that. Whether it's one of those, kind
Should
of like.
she? No.
No.
Can she?
Right.
Sure.
Is it one of those like magic items that like resizes to the wearer's size, or whatever? And so if you just like press it up against your eye, will it just be like, I guess I'm a monocle now? I'll have to think about how magic items work.
Ooh, I just thought of something.
no.
It was like Mad Eye Moody. It'd be like that, but it's like inside your head and just like flips around.
Why would it be inside your head? Why not outside of just lenses?
Yeah,
Layers,
no.
Steve? Why wouldn't it be that?
Because those are called glasses.
I guess.
And now, a word from our sponsors. This episode is sponsored by the League of Libraries. It is a well-known fact that Candlekeep is the largest repository of knowledge in the Forgotten Realms. But, like a dragon sitting on its gold, it hoards its collections and the secrets within. Enter The League of Libraries, a regularly updated 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons supplement available now on dmsguild.com. The most recent installment, the Bogfly, Craigbore, and Crenshaw collection, features 101 provocative book titles and authors, 4 unique floor maps, and even a short caper encounter. Most importantly, a percentage of proceeds from the sales for this product are donated to the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Expand your game with the League of Libraries supplements. Visit dmsguild.com to pick up your copies today.
This episode is sponsored by the Braith Shattered Realities setting on Roll20. Braith is a post-apocalyptic story setting focused on recovering and healing, and helps you create campaigns centered on character growth and finding your place in life. With 18 new playable races and subraces, plus new player options, Braith is filled with tools to assist you and your players in creating highly diverse encounters in the setting. While Braith Shattered Realities can be used for any kind of campaign, it is particularly suited to games with psychological themes. If you enjoy developing character arcs and incorporating personal growth, Braith has everything you need. In this setting, you don't just fight against things, but for a better future, for yourself, and for the world you live in. Check out Braith Shattered Realities at the marketplace of Roll20.com.
And now, back to the episode.
Val.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. We'll start with the easy bit. This item is called the Ring of the Bear. As a reminder, this magic item came after you guys participated in the spectral battle.
This was Prince Robard.
Prince Robard, whose symbol was a bear. First, the wearer is immune to fear. Once a day, as a bonus action, up to 4 other individuals you can see within 45 feet of you gain advantage on saving throws against fear. If they are already under the effect of fear, they immediately get a new save at advantage. The wearer also gets +1 to all saves. Finally, is Steeled Resolve, which lets you, as a bonus action, spend up to 3 hit dice. Now, it occurs to you, Val, as you are casting Identify on this, based on how you found it, based on the information you're getting, and based off of what you know about this phenomenon, there's a chance that this is an object of focus. If that is the case, and only, and may, I won't say your characters wouldn't necessarily expect it, but it just doesn't happen. People don't stumble across objects of focus. Most of them are destroyed or taken or are well known. But now, Val, that you've cast Identify on it, this is maybe an object of focus, which means A, it's probably much more powerful than what you are reading now. And B, it is probably the most powerful magic item you have ever held. This is an artifact level item. And a lot of people would be very interested in this, not just for study, but to have. I'll put it that way.
Val, after learning all of this information, just pauses to absorb the gravity of what she's holding. And I think pauses so long that Cass starts yelling at her.
Right,
like,
everyone's
"Bless
getting
you.
ready as
Come
this
on."
is happening.
Yeah.
We're like, we gotta go. We all agreed, right?
Like, we've been packing up after, like, getting all the rope back, and you're
Yeah.
still standing there, like, peering off the edge of the cliff, looking at this ring.
And Jacob's just like, so it doesn't do anything. That's too bad.
Val must be really bummed, just
Yeah.
staring at the ring, bummed that it's not doing
She
anything.
hasn't said anything in like 10 minutes, so it's gotta be worthless.
So Val would mostly just be pausing because the information was thoroughly unexpected and significant. So as Cass barks at her to hurry up, we gotta go. She kind of snaps to and then starts packing everything up, puts the ring in a safer pocket, and will start marching forward. And as she kind of wraps her head around it a bit more, waits for the appropriate time in the conversation to be like, whoa, guys.
and to like set both Val's understanding of this and probably everyone else's, like, that's why the Pentarchy was able to dominate, is because they had tons of objects of focus. That is why Berga has powers and has like a fraction of one and was able to be a full-fledged adventurer because of just a tiny bit of one. Kingdoms are made and lost and fought over for these. And you found one in the dirt.
I think it was more given to us.
There was,
but-
a process.
Yeah.
It was. I get it. You're right. You're technically right. I get that.
Val would start pondering if the object of focus was created at the point of Prince Robard's stand, or as we stood with him.
So that's an important question. There's been no new objects of focus made on Rixia since the reign of the Pentarchy.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a key question, because getting an object of focus at all is important. If it was created now, like last night or yesterday or whatever, that changes everything.
Mm-hmm. Good to know. Also, and then Val will now jump into the Ring of the Bear and tell the group everything it does, and then also this ring may, I don't know for sure, but given what we saw in the echo, it could be an object of focus.
Interesting.
That doesn't make any sense. There are no more objects of focus. I mean, they're all, like, used and taken.
I have the same questions, but that is the magic I potentially see.
I'm just trying to decide. Checkers thinks of the object of focus as just like powerful magic items. Like
Absolutely.
He doesn't understand really their significance in history.
Yeah, totally.
Or, what we were talking about were the cause of the rise of empires. He's like, oh, so it's like it's a cool magic item is what you said.
Technically, yes.
Neat.
Not inaccurate.
Yeah.
And Casprin knows them as, like, weapons of powerful rulers and conquerors and, like, things, again, from, like, myths and fairy tales. It's not something he would ever see or be around.
Especially on this part of the world, where the Pentarchy made a point to have all of them. That is why, that's, again, part of why the Pentarchy was so dominant, is because they got control over all the objects of focus in this continent, basically.
And so Casprin's really like, oh, you just got the looking glass thing. Like, you're probably just using it wrong. Like, you're reading whatever it told you. Weirdly.
Have you recalibrated it since you got it?
Maybe
Or
that was the last setting. The last thing it...
Yeah,
it-
like
it
all
read.
items are objects of focus now. Cool. That it tells you.
Val
Sophie
is
is
offended.
Sophie and Val, unamused.
He doesn't say that, but like that's just like, oh, it's an object of focus. Of course it is.
I don't know if we went through like an actual description, but in my head, for some reason, I'm picturing like a silver ring.
It's like a wedding band.
It is
what it really reminds you
It's
of.
pretty simple, right?
Yeah, it's doesn't really even have like anything of note on it. It seems pretty normal, other than the fact that it's maybe one of the most magical things you've ever seen in your entire life.
Does it feel any different than anything else that we have? Or as you're touching it, does it like resonate
Tingle?
with it? Yeah, does it tingle? Does it resonate with anything?
I've always kind of imagined like magic items to an extent, especially once you know they're like magic. There's almost like a vibration or a sense to it.
Yeah, because I'm imagining like an item this powerful, even if it looks mundane, it has to be affecting us or the space around it in some way.
It's interesting. It actually isn't
Okay.
right now. Which, again, it should be.
Uh-huh.
100%. That, like, if you were to see another object of focus, that would be the case. And, like, to the point where, like, the desk of doing feels more magical than
Maybe-
this right now.
Maybe it doesn't until somebody attunes to it.
And potentially, if this was created at the time Prince Robard died, there would not have been anyone to use it. It could be that nobody has ever tapped its power or attuned to it. It could be dormant.
Checkers in his head is kind of going through a,
Well, Berga had part of an object of focus, and she was a really good adventurer. And the King of Strife had a whole object of focus.
He had many.
Had many objects of focus. And some people say he was the best adventurer.
Sir, 1 out of 1 checkers poll say he might be the best
He
adventurer.
might be the best adventurer. Hey, Val. What'd you say it did again?
Boy, you know who needs no sense of fear? Definitely checkers.
You want to know what Sophie wanted to tell Checkers?
What's that?
Makes you poop.
I'll still take it.
Oh, I was
That's
going
not
to say, that
stop
might
me.
actually sell it
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
'Cause now he's
Yeah,
just
that's
giving
why I
it to
didn't
people.
say it.
Yeah.
That's how
You're
we-
telling me there's a command word that will allow me to...
Just slip it on.
I can poop on anything whenever I want? Wow. Give me that.
I will
Tackles
literally
Val.
trade you anything.
Right. You can have mango.
Yeah, here's Mango.
Mango, I'm so sorry.
Mango just nods
Mango
solemnly. It's
understands.
like, yes,
Yeah.
this
I get
is,
it,
This
bro.
is right.
Yep.
We'll see you sometimes.
Yep.
Don't worry about it. So what did that ring do, Val?
Val will tell Checkers what it does.
Neat.
Yeah.
Anybody want it?
Well, that's is like,
Is somebody going to use that?
I mean,
Val,
I feel like-
Val looks pointedly at Cass.
I will use it. How do you feel about wearing objects of focus, though? I feel like he feels better about it, but like not to knock like Valeska's magical detection skills, but he's still not convinced that this is actually an object of focus. Partly just because like the sheer incredulity of finding one on the ground.
And it's really just Val going off of like assumptions. It's like, okay, based off of the situation, it might be. And if it is,
It's just like
Oh.
he trusts you. It's just one of those things that like in his mind, in the stories, like Checkers said, like these things are incredibly magical.
Yeah.
And we found a silver ring in the middle of a field and it just looks like a ring. So like it's probably a very strong magical item, but like object of focus, probably not. I mean,
You
Caspian-
found in the dirt. No. We were given on the ground.
there's just no handy end table to leave it on.
Yeah, that's fair.
so Selv will not ask for it. But if the group decides that Selv is the best to take it, there's not an issue there. But he
Steve
will,
wants it.
he will Selv will not like say, "Hey, that's for me,"
Val will say to the group that the only reason I would want this ring was to learn more about it. I don't think I should wear it. I can do more research tonight at camp. I can look at it a little bit more. I do think that this would be a benefit to any of us, but in my mind, I do think maybe it would benefit Selv or Cass the most.
Sounds good.
I think that's fair.
Checkers will find you the best thing ever.
Oh, I'm just waiting for us to get the net back from the bones.
That is yours for sure. That was a good
My
find on your
net
part.
back from the bones.
As I just agreed to. I said that was an excellent find on your part.
Thanks.
God, I hope that net is okay. Because also Val just got a wondrous legendary item. Like, she's good.
Don't worry, guys. I don't want it either.
I was just thinking that you know, well, because the fortunate is already immune to fear.
Yeah, like does the fortunate have fear?
If the face plate of an undead centurion could smirk, that is what they would be doing right now. So, you guys walk.
Val chuckles at the fortunate.
Yeah. The fortunate continues leading you guys in as you are discussing who should have the most powerful magic item you've literally ever seen in your entire life. Presumably. Maybe. You don't actually know. Again, this is truly based off of Val's like it seems like
Vibe
it just
checking.
it kind of lines up, and my magical senses tell me this, blah, blah, blah. You guys are going through, again, these huge waving blades of grass, and you are clomping through the mud, and it is slow going. The smell is very intense. It smells like, you know, kind of that mud and grass smell, if you know what I mean, and like kind of pollen-y, and it is not a pleasant experience in here. Even if you were not in this kind of strange field, just the mud alone is really hampering your movement.
How many woven snowshoes has Val been able to make today?
We'll roll for it.
Okay.
So, Sophie, what's something you guys see that's interesting as you are going?
As we're walking, the wind starts to pick up, and as the wind blows through the reeds ahead of us, we hear this low, I don't want to say moan necessarily, but this just like low bass tone that starts and stops with the blowing of the wind, and the reeds kind of go back to standing up straight. And as the wind shifts, it blows through the tops of the reeds and creates this low bass note that, like, the kind that you can kind of feel.
Yeah.
Almost. As we see a shorter reed that's growing, there's these odd holes at the top. And so as the wind blows through this expanse of reeds, this sorrowful note follows us.
As you are walking, you are hearing this wail, maybe. And suddenly, as the reeds part right in front of the fortunate but in clear view of you all, you see one of those reeds a few feet off the ground. And quickly, more of the grass and brush and even some flowers all almost snap together into a humanoid form around this reed, which has now taken the form of a mouth. And whatever this is, looks at you all and says, "What brings you here?" And that's where we'll end this week's episode. Yay!
Next time, Flower Talk.
Next time, Flower Talk.
My mom she would always like buy the cereal, like the buy 6 boxes, get this much off or whatever. But before she would buy new cereal, we had to finish all the old cereal. And like you get towards the end of the box, you're like, I don't want that anymore. And she's like, no, you have to finish it. So I remember like being left home alone on like a Saturday or Sunday morning. I think my sister was around. She was technically old enough to babysit. But I would take the like Tupperware popcorn bowl and just dump all of it. Didn't matter what cereal it was. Just dump. It was like putting every flavor of soda into one cup. But I would just dump whatever we had left over, like Cookie Crisps, Tricks. I don't think we did like Honey Nut Cheerios.
And it was probably all of
anything.
like the dust at the bottom.
Oh,
all
yeah.
The sugary bits at the
Well,
end.
that's how you flavor your milk.
Oh, the milk after this was gray.
Gross.
Not like brown, but like gray, like a
no.
milky, bluish gray.
That's how you know you did it right.
Yeah, it
That's
was.
where the diabetes is.
Yeah.
Yeah.